Veronica. How are you doing?
Hi, Divya. Super well. How are you doing?
I am good. Thank you for asking. Thank you so much for being so kind and taking out time for speaking with me on something that really matters to mothers out there. So let me quickly share what this quick conversation of Supermoms of Cimpress is going to be about. This is a chat show to cherish, celebrate the supermoms around me like you, and learn from them through their experience of motherhood, maternity leave, and what it is like to transition back to work. However, before we start, can you quickly introduce yourself to our audience?
Of course. My name is Veronica Acevedo, and I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Vista, one of the Cimpress brands. I'm based just outside of New York City, and I'm the mom of a 1-year-old boy named Raphael, who's just starting to walk around and shake his head yes and no and just melt our hearts even more than ever before.
Lovely. So I think we're good to begin the conversation and hear more from you. So first thing first, can you tell me about your phase of motherhood? What was it like?
Sure. I became a mother about a year ago to little Raphael, and I worked all the way up until the day that I started having contractions and went into labor. And then after that, I was fortunate to take 16 weeks of paid maternity leave. Right now, I'm back at work full time, and I work in a remote first role. And my husband works in a hybrid role, so he's at home a couple days a week. He goes to the office a couple of days. And all the while, my son is also in the house with us. He's either with a nanny or with his grandmother taking care of him.
Okay. While you were on your maternity leave, I'm sure you must have heard or experienced or maybe read of some myths and stereotypes which are associated with maternity leave. So, would you like to share and highlight some of them for us?
Sure. So the first one that I think we all have heard before is that parental leave is a vacation, like paid vacation from the company. And this cannot be farther from the truth. Maternity leave gives you no free time. The baby demands all of it. You need to be feeding the infant every 3 hours. There are many doctor's appointments early in that first year. And then if you were the one who gave birth, like myself, your body needs to physically recover, and it takes weeks, if not months, to get back to being able to move around the way you did before pregnancy. So even if you wanted to quickly get back to work, a lot of the childcare centers in the United States only take infants at 6 weeks old. So for those first 6 weeks, it's very hard to get at least paid childcare. So I'd say that's the first myth. It's definitely not a vacation. The second myth is that once a woman becomes a mom, she's going to want to slow down her career so that she could spend more time with the baby. And I'd say this is definitely particular to each woman, and we shouldn't make assumptions at work that each woman's going to want to slow down their career. There may be some women who do want to slow down or who need some more time to find the right routine, the right balance to manage both. But managers should discuss this with each returning parent instead of making those assumptions. You'll also have moms who are excited to get back to work, ramp up quickly, and continue progressing their career ambitions even while being a mom. And then finally, the final myth is that women will not want to come back to work. And again, this is really particular to each woman. You can't really decide on this before baby comes into the picture. Baby comes in and there might be, right, beyond just the emotional bond that the parents have with the baby, there might be financial reasons to either go back to work or to stop going to work. But really, it's best to not assume, and managers and team members to discuss career ambitions with the parent returning from work.
Did you feel like not coming to work or giving up or slowing down your work when you were in that phase?
I felt so guilty to be coming back to work. I mean, I was looking forward for more mental stimulation. I love the work that I do, and watching a baby could sometimes feel like, okay, I need a little bit more mental stimulation, but I felt incredibly guilty, and I felt that my son would miss me and maybe not do so well with whoever was taking care of him. So definitely was an emotional struggle, and I'm glad that I could ramp up coming back to a remote role and find that routine that worked for me.
So, yeah,
That's true.
talking of your maternity leave, what was it like? Was it smooth for you, or your child bothered you
Yes,
a lot?
I was super fortunate to get to take 16 weeks paid time off, which in the United States is pretty good, at least with other companies. Uh, and Beautiful time, but it's super exhausting time. As I said, there's a lot of doctor's appointments, taking care of the baby. It's round the clock work. It's not like you could log off in the evening, go to sleep and rest. It's around the clock taking care of the baby. But fortunately, near the end of my paternity break, my husband took 2 weeks of his paternity leave at the same time that I had my break so that I could train him on taking over watching our son. And then he took 10 additional weeks of paid paternity leave so that I could return to work and I could feel good knowing that I was leaving the baby with a parent that the baby had already bonded with.
Right. I think that skill should be added on your CV as well, that you have learned this management skill.
Definitely. It's a brand new skill sets and mindsets. I know we'll talk a little bit more about it in a second.
Okay, so what was it like for you to, come back to work after a long gap of a few months, of course, with the life-changing experience that you had?
Oh my gosh. I was really worried that I would have lost some knowledge or skill sets, right? 16 weeks off is the longest I've been without work since I started working as like a teenager. So I was delighted to find that once I got back into my groove, the knowledge was still there, the ways of doing things, right? Even handling emails, working on our different systems. I still knew how to do them. And I felt pretty prepared because I had read a book in advance called Back to Work After Baby, How to Plan and Navigate a Mindful Return from Maternity Leave. Definitely recommend it. It shared with me how to pace my days, how to not be overwhelmed with all the emails and meetings that I had missed over months, but to instead have strategic meetings with people and ask for a summary. And now what could I influence to get our projects to the next stage? It also encouraged me to build breaks into my day to continue nursing, which as a nursing mother, I needed to do, and to hold the first few weekends just to be with my baby and hug him all weekend because I did miss him a lot from working the full time. I also felt fortunate to have a remote first job because, again, as a breastfeeding mom, I could schedule those breaks and pump milk or nurse my son and not have a big interruption to my work routine. No one on video calls really know that it was happening, so it felt really comfortable for me to keep doing that. But as I said, there is that guilt that you're leaving behind baby from seeing him every single day and now transitioning back to work. So for those who do come back, there's definitely purpose, right? You're choosing to leave your most precious loved one to be back at work. And I think that leads into how we should even respect and embrace working parents even more in the workplace.
Right. So how long did you take to, fully transition back or come to work and just be into the work mode that you were before?
I don't even know if I kept track. Maybe a month it took to really feel like I had a good handle of the balance. Not that you ever do, but that the new routine, right? That the baby got used to, new caregiver, and that I got used to being back in the swing of things. But yeah, I don't know if we could all put a number to it, but it definitely isn't immediate. I could say that.
Okay. Since you are a first-time mother, I'm sure it must have been a very, very different, difficult experience for you, along with the beauty that it comes with. But how, according to you, the maternity break and this transition can be made better by the organizations generally?
Sure. So as I mentioned, I was able to return to work when I did because my husband was able to take paid paternity leave. And I know for men, sometimes there's more of a feeling of stigma to taking that time and leaving one's career, but it helped me get back quicker. So I would advocate for equal time off for paternity leave, no matter your gender, no matter how you welcome a new child into your life. And I'd also recommend more preparation for managers around their team members who are becoming parents. or who are leaving to parental leave, so that there's ample preparation before they go out, during the break, and then when they return. It could feel like, oh, you're suddenly losing someone on your team. How are you going to redistribute the work? And there might even be some biases in when that person comes back, feeling like you can't give them as much work anymore. But again, those are myths. We need to have those conversations with each parent and do more preparation for the teams in advance. And then I'd also say offering more help with childcare options. I've read a lot of research that a lot of moms in particular have dropped out of working because the cost of childcare is getting so expensive, and sometimes it could feel better to just pull out of the workforce instead of spending all that money for someone else to watch your child. So any ways that companies can give referrals, recommendations, or stipends or offer on-site childcare would be very welcome for, I'm sure, all parents all around.
Right. So just one last thing before we close this conversation. So you are a DI professional yourself, and having mothers back to work is itself an important limb of inclusion. So can you tell me how this whole journey has changed you as a person and in a professional capacity as well?
Absolutely. So again, the job of motherhood, parenthood does not end. So after my full day of work, I log off and then I am full-time mom until I log back on. And so I'd say a brand new skill set in this space is being super efficient. You learn that your time is extra precious now. And so you make decisions with more confidence, I'd say. Again, you make sure that you're in meetings that make sense to have, or you're canceling meetings that you could handle over email or over Slack. So efficiency, I think, is a top skill. And then I have more empathy for parents who, now that I'm living it and I know how tough it can be to find that balance, doing my best to understand the working parents on my team, what way of working is best for them, empowering them to work when and how they choose, as long as they meet their targets, versus micromanaging them and expecting them to be online all the time. It definitely gives you that sense of empathy for other parents and that interest in learning more about what drives them or what's helping them manage that balance and how can we support as a company.
So 2 E's are the takeaways from here: empathy and efficiency. Lovely.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Veronica, for being so candid with me and sharing your thoughts. I'm sure this would be a great help to all the to-be mothers and new mothers out there while they might be figuring out how to, sail through this period.
My pleasure. Always happy to talk about it and help any moms or to-be moms out there.
Thank you so much again. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.